Hey guys, it's SJ. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're brand new, my name is SJ. I'm a mum of three. I live just outside of London with my three kids. This is our house. The kids are busy at the moment. It is Sunday and they're out at sports club. It's a really windy day. Plants have been falling over. The wind's been very high at night. This whole week has been very stormy, lots of rainstorms, and my anxiety is really high. I have a bit of a fear of bad weather, and my son, who is going to turn 9 this month, has a really high anxiety and fear around bad weather, storms and natural disasters. So this week he's been in bed with us when there's been rain. He's had to look outside the window to check there's not a tsunami coming. He is terrified of hurricanes. So if you're in the US or here in the UK, there's been so many natural disasters and they're all over the news. We've had fires here in London. We've had hurricanes that have been absolutely traumatic for America. We've had tsunamis, and it just is a lot going on at the moment in the world. And yeah, I'm going to give you some techniques to help your children if they have a fear of this, like my child does. And these are things I'm going to start with him now. I've been researching. They're not my techniques. They are from this book that I love called Attachment Play, most of them, and then just some other tips I've read online. Very simple things that you can do. This is all about play therapy, but that you do at home, not like complex. And then I'm also going to tell you my story of what happened to me when I was young, and why I can't say that storms aren't dangerous to my child, because me and my sister nearly died in a storm when we were like 7 and 8. One of our friends actually did die. And yeah, it's just something that stayed with me. And during days like today when it's very windy, my anxiety is much higher, particularly when I'm not with the children, because I know what can actually happen, and I know that you can just say goodbye to a child one morning and they don't come home from school, and that is not very good to know, because it's hard to then reassure other people. So I'm going to film my techniques and then I'm going to go back and tell you my story. So a few ways of doing it. So I'm looking outside, it is so windy. Number one is non-directive play. So setting up a scene and letting them play and just sit back and watch and let them lead the play. And normally a child will put in any of their fears, and it's going to help you to understand what they're most scared of if they've been through a trauma. It might be that you put some characters in the bath if they are very scared of floods and water. It may be that noise is what really frightens them, which I think is that of my son. He hates the noise of wind or strong rain. It scares him. And then they'll also have fears of things like hand dryers, loud noises. And then if it's the loud noise that scares them, they might put their hands over the ears of the characters. And then what you can do is turn their fear into a play technique, which gives them control and helps them work through their ultimate fear. So a very young child, you might just do this with toys and say, oh, it's so loud and noisy outside, let's cover our ears. What can we do to make ourselves feel okay? Why don't we put some loud music on and distract ourselves from the noise? Or if they're very afraid of something like the strong water and that might come out, you could do things like going to the swimming pool and being like, let's see what happens if we go right under the water. I'll be okay, can we get back up and breathe again? And playing with them. If they're older, it's actually good, she says in the book, to ask their permission. So say like, I know you're really afraid of earthquakes, shall we play earthquakes? And we'll pretend what would happen if we were in an earthquake. And I think the asking permission bit is a really important thing. Children don't want to be forced into playing this. I wouldn't want to be. So our older children, 8 or 9, 11, when they start to develop these fears, ask them their permission. Can we play earthquakes? What would happen? Let's see what's happening outside. Let's barricade the door. Let's, and play through it and ultimately resolve it with them. And doing that a few times, and it might be quite scary and emotional for them if they've been traumatized by it, or it might just help them if they're just, it's a fear, to know like there is a plan. And that's another big thing, is having the knowledge behind you, understanding the natural disasters. So my son's very afraid of tsunamis. So the other night, it was up all night, 'cause it was raining. He was so scared looking out the windows. Is a tsunami coming? Is a tsunami coming? So explaining to him how a tsunami actually works and how where we live, we would never be affected by one because we're not close enough to water, and the plates of the earth and everything like that, and the warnings and the weather warnings that they have. can alleviate their fears, and knowledge is powerful. Similarly, letting them know what they can do in a disaster. So, you know, do you know how to call the police? Do you know the number? Do you know how, if you call the same number, you can also get the fire brigade? And giving them that sense of control, practicing that out, you know, playing policeman, playing fireman, driving and showing them how close the fire station is. I've done that with my children. Like, look, here's the fire station, here's the ambulance station, look how close they are to our house. Because my son has a lot of those types of fears, and that's really, really helped. Even writing it down somewhere so he knows if there was a disaster, he can go and open the door and it says behind a cupboard, this is the number to dial, this is what to say. All those little things, making sure they can use your phone, know the code, gives them that sense of control and calms their anxiety like it would for us. So going back in time to when I was a little girl, it was a very, very, very windy day. There was an unexpected gale. Nobody knew it was going to happen, and we went to school like normal, all of the children, to our junior school, so I wasn't much the same age as my son now, and it was a very windy day at school, and we were kept inside for lunchtime, and just after lunchtime I heard just a humongous bang, and loud bang on the roof, on the ceiling, and lots of screaming. And our school roof collapsed on the children that were in the upper classrooms. Literally the whole side of the school, I'll see if I can find some pictures because it was a lot in the press, had been ripped aside and had collapsed, and a little girl died immediately. And I just remember hearing screams. I was so frightened. My sister was in the classroom upstairs, and I thought that maybe, I didn't know if she was okay. I saw people running down the corridors, not running, the school were amazing. I don't think that back then they probably had disaster training, they must have done. I remember seeing the classes from above filing down the stairs. People had blood, people were frightened. Our teacher was incredible. Her name was Jane Hubbard. I don't know if anyone would ever know Jane Hubbard, but wow, like, I think she remembers me because when she left school I used to write to her a lot because I got very, very attached to my teacher through it. And probably we were all crying, and this was going on. We were led outside of our classroom to the assembly hall in our rows. The teachers were amazing. I can't imagine what they were going through. I know that afterwards some of the teachers could never teach in a classroom alone again, and that's why we were in like double classrooms, which I didn't understand till later. And then we were led outside of the school. It was so windy, and the teachers were saying, don't look back. And I looked back and I just thought, I don't know where my sister is. Didn't know where she was, and it was windy. It feels like a movie. Like, I literally remember I was holding on to teacher. We were having to hold together because it was so windy. I looked back up and I could just see everything ripped. And my dad's a policeman. And as I was walking out, I saw my dad running into the school. He was the first policeman, I think, on the scene. Can't imagine what that call must have been like coming through on the radio, that his children's school. And I just remember him running past me and I just shouted, Dad! I was so frightened because we were being told, do not go in the building, get out. And my dad was going in. And I remember he stopped. I remember him sort of doing this funny thing where he just kind of went like, oh, and then ran off. I think he literally was just like, there's one, she's okay. And he ran in. He was desperate, looking for my sister. We all knew my sister was in that top classroom. And he ran into the school and he saw the girl who had died lying there. I don't know why I'm so emotional. It's just such a sad story. And my dad said that his mind played a trick on him. He thought it was my sister. She had the same kind of hair. Anyway, it wasn't my sister. My sister class had been having their music lesson in another part of the school when it happened, which was just a godsend. Just could have been her, could have been me, could have been any other child in that class. And my school now, we were all off. We all had professional counselling offered to us. I didn't have the professional counselling, my best friend did. And we were off school for many months. We never went back to that school. It was not good for us to go back into that building. The building was gone anyway. We were transferred to another school, so every day we used to have to go to school and go on buses quite a long way to a different school, which was frightening for us. And we were kept with our same teacher for an extra year, so we didn't have many changes. They were very gentle. And we talked a lot about the girl who died, lots of assemblies about her. We never let her memory go. It's only now that I get really sad about it, because my own children And her mum saying I kissed her goodbye like normal that morning. Why was it my child? I think, you know, why me? Why my daughter? You know, it's just not fair, and it's not fair. But anyway, natural disasters are scary. They happen, and people die in them. Children get caught up in them, and it leaves long-lasting fears. So my Facebook, if there is a stormy day like today, there'll be lots of messages. Is everyone okay? From our school. I'm upset. You okay? Keep the children in today, not sending them to school. There's knock-on effects. If your child is scared, whether rightly so, they've been through something, or just phobic of whether a natural disaster, like my son is, he doesn't know this story. I've never told him what happened. And so I find it strange that he is so scared of storms. But yes, back in time. Anyway, I'm sorry for such an emotional video. I don't know if this will like upset anybody or if it will just remind you of something yourself, but I just hope it might just help somebody. It might show you that you're not alone if you do have these fears. If you've been through something, it's tough sometimes. It's not something I think about every single day, for sure, but just thinking about it a lot recently as Freddie's fears have been developing, thinking back on my childhood, and such a big thing that happened to me that I don't revisit often. But yeah, but that has sort of randomly crept in over the last few weeks. So I hope this video is useful. I hope it's a conversation starter and also gives you some techniques and lets you know that you're not alone.